DT, what else has caught your attention this training camp? First time we've had you on due to my radio schedule, and you've got some stuff going on, so we haven't had you on since camp opened here. What else has caught your attention through the first week and change of practice so far?
I mean, I'm just a little bit bummed that we haven't seen two of our top rookies really in Kenyon Sadiq and D'Angelo Pons, because they are supposed to have big roles or potentially be able to solidify big roles for this upcoming season. So it is a bummer to not see them out there. But the ones that are on the field, I have been really impressed with. David Bailey, I mean, obviously him and Membu, like that is just, I don't want to say it, but iron sharpens iron. Like it's the only cliche thing I could think of to talk about with these two guys. But we're in a world, Jake, where those two guys in 2 years' time, maybe even 1 year's time, like they're the best two players on our team. Not disrespecting, Garrett Wilson or whoever you think is the top guy now, but those guys have what it takes to like really be the best. And the battle between him and Membu, obviously Fashanu and Bailey, McDonald and Fashanu as well, like that has been a lot of fun to watch, because it kind of takes me back to what we liked about the Saleh era team, which was defensive line being really aggressive. But this time we have the horses on offense to hold up. We're not going against like the Lake and Tomlinsons of the world. So I'm actually really excited about the trench play, but I do want to see Kenyon Sadiq and D'Angelo Pons out there like ASAP.
I mean, I'm with you. I want to see Pons out there. I want to see Sadiq, of course. I'm a little worried about Sadiq missing this much time because it's not just training camp. He also missed a lot in mini camp.
Yeah.
That's a lot of football reps that he's not getting at a very important position where it takes a little time for rookies to learn. So that's a bummer. Pons, I want to see as quickly as possible because I think he's going to start week 1 for them, or at least I think that was their plan before this calf injury.
Yeah, I think it was too. And whether it's just a circuit, like a situational matchup type decision, whether it's him or Brownlee in the slot, I do think I'm pretty sure the Titans with Wandale and Carnell Tate and they have another guy out there. I believe it's another ex-Giant, maybe Darnell Mooney or somebody. But they're like kind of smaller at wide receiver, which would fit more of like Pons can match up against their slot receiver a lot better. So I definitely want to see him back as soon as possible. Obviously we get a little bit of PTSD with calf strains with, the whole Aaron Rodgers calf strain turned to an Achilles a couple months later. So I just want him to be responsible with these guys. But the whole thing with Kenyon Sadiq, I don't really care too much about how quickly he's adjusting and learning the playbook. When you actually go out there and then you have to be fullback and then you have to be attached to the line of scrimmage and then the next play you're detached from the line of scrimmage, like it's a lot on your responsibility plate. So getting those guys out there who could be versatile pieces for you is huge.
John J. Williams just bought a bunch of items from my merch store at jakeasman.com. So, John, I just got the email as I was doing the show here. So thank you for that. Appreciate everyone who buys merch. Another great way to support the show. Dylan, I'm also concerned about T'Vondre Sweat. I mean, the fact that T'Vondre Sweat was acquired in a deal right before the offseason really got into full swing, right? We were at the NFL scouting combine when we heard of that news. The fact that he's been out, hamstring, there's no sign of him coming back anytime soon. I know they said a couple weeks, not that serious. To me, it's serious when Antoine Staley says he looks like he's 400 pounds. And you're talking about a guy who's dealt with weight issues. You need him to be in game shape. We need that Sweat revenge game week 1 right away against the Titans. I'm concerned about T'Vondre Sweat.
Yeah, and shameless plug for the Jets collective, but you were bang on when you said to Rich, every time he brings up T'Vondre Sweat's weight, it's like he gains 5 or 10 pounds.
Yeah,
like it's so true. And like now that they've actually seen him out there, obviously on the rehab field, the number keeps going up. And maybe it's not necessarily a bad thing like it was with the Mekhi Bectons of our past. But yeah, I think lost in the shuffle of all of the D-line stuff from a positive perspective, right? David Bailey, Will McDonald going up against the tackles. We do have some talent in the middle with Briggs, Phillips, Onyemata to kind of cover it. Darrell Jackson has been getting a lot of love lately. Recently changed his number to 95, so Stonk's going way up on Darrell Jackson Jr. And but Sweat is getting kind of lost in the shuffle here, and being a big part of what their plan was as far as a run defense standpoint. It does get concerning that somebody that's that large has a lower body injury and needs to rehab it because conditioning, load management, right? All those things come into play with him, and you want him as healthy as possible, as quickly as possible.
Nightbot says, have a question or a Jets take for Jake, send a super chat to guarantee he sees it. Appreciate that, Nightbot. Two-piece writes in, with the Bucks coming in, anyone excited to see Bailey versus Bain? Well, it's not Bailey versus Bain. It'd be Bailey versus Tristan Wirfs. That I'm definitely excited to see, because if David Bailey goes out there and beats Tristan Wirfs, that means David Bailey's ready to go, because Tristan Wirfs is as good as any at his position. He started as a right tackle. Now he's a left tackle. He's just an elite tackle, and Joe Douglas took Mekhi Becton instead of him, but I digress. I'm very excited to see that matchup for sure.
I was just going to say Wirfs versus Bailey is the matchup, and then Bailey versus their right tackle, Luke Gedeke, who I got to see at the Senior Bowl a couple years ago. I believe he just got an extension with Tampa Bay, moved over to right tackle, I believe, from guard. So we'll see Bailey with a very strong matchup in Tristan Wirfs, where we'll probably see Wirfs get the better of Bailey for sure. But then on the other side, that's a matchup that, even though Gedeke is a fine rookie or a fine veteran for sure, that's a matchup he can win. So those two matchups specifically, I'm watching, like, does he only beat Gedeke and he can't beat Wirfs? Because that might be a little bit of an issue, but that's going to be, get your popcorn ready for joint practices. I think that's going to be one of the most fun ones. And then on the inverse, because he brought up Rueben Bain, good player FC. I mean, he's going up against Membu and Fashanu. So, like, we're going to see Bain against two really strong competitors on our side. So maybe Bain gets the better of our guys, and we're like, holy shit, like, Rueben Bain might have been the guy at 2.
Mickey, super chat, cuts the line. I think we need to get a backup QB. Who would you guys want the most out of these names via trade? Will Levis, Joe Milton, Sam Howell, Tanner McKee. Look, I don't love Joe Milton. I would much prefer Howell, who's played, or Levis, because I think there's something there as far as possible upside. None of these names really excite me. I honestly would prefer Dalton. He knows Frank Reich's offense. He threw for like 400 yards when Frank Reich benched Bryce Young and went to Dalton. Like, I don't know. Dalton kind of reminds me of Flacco at this stage of his career. Like, he just come in and just sling it. He's a veteran. Like, he played before the rules really changed. And you saw Phillip Rivers come off the couch and have some success. Like, I think Andy Dalton's kind of plug and play. Not that he's going to be good, but I think you could run a decent offense with the Jets' weapons and protection with Dalton.
Yeah, he's more of like that Geno Smith, knows where to go with the ball. He will protect himself. He's not going to take unnecessary shots, might not take unnecessary risks, whereas Geno Smith would definitely like uncork one. But yeah, given these 4 names specifically, Will Levis is the only one that like inspires, like, from an experience perspective of like, okay, the reason we're going to these guys is because Cade Klubnik has no real NFL experience yet as a backup. Will Levis is really the only one that started like meaningful games in this league. Obviously, Sam Howell did in like a lost year, I believe, with Washington. But just go to Cade Klubnik at that point, because you're not getting a much more experienced person in Will Levis. So I would definitely invoke that 5th name with Andy Dalton for sure, because it's just a veteran that understands what to do in the offense. Familiarity with Frank Reich obviously is bonus points.
I'd be okay with Will Levis, but could we get Will Levis before week 1 so we could pick his brain on the Dable offense?
Yeah, and I don't know if you heard his press conference appearance. I believe it was later last week, and he said he thinks he's like a top 32 quarterback in the league. Yeah. He's like, I don't think there's 31 or 32 quarterbacks better than me. And obviously all the memes came out. Yeah, you're right. There's 50 quarterbacks better than you. So it's like, that's the water we're swimming in with these kind of guys. So maybe Cade Klubnik is like the 67th best quarterback, and Will Levis is like the 45th. Like, either way, we're not doing much.
This one is great from Leon. He says, I can already hear the bootlicker excuses after we lose 24-13 to Tennessee. Pond, Sadiq, and Sweat weren't fully healthy. It's going to take time for Glenn's defense to gel, etc. Yeah, they can make all the excuses they want. The bottom line is they lose week 1. Get ready for Green Bay. Get ready for the Lions. Get ready for the Bears. Your season could be over if you don't find a way to quickly steal a game no one's going to expect you to win, because you're going to be an underdog in all 3 of those games. So if you don't win week 1, you better find a win really quick, because you start 0-3, it's over.
Yeah, for sure. And to Leon's point, 24-13 is not a good look, losing by double digits to a Robert Saleh team, allowing 24 points to a Robert Saleh team. If it was like 24-23, hypothetically, then yes, maybe there's room to say, okay, look what we did last year in Pittsburgh, and we took some of those positives and tried to carry them into week 2. I could see, I'll probably end up doing that if that's the case on my channel. But like, there's going to be a line where it's like, you cannot get blown out in this game. It has to be close down to the wire. If you lose on a 63-yard miracle field goal or some stupid shit at the end, like, okay, whatever. But like 24-13, Salah gets the last laugh. That's the top headline of all the games played in week one. GMFB on Monday morning, Salah laughing about the Jets, and beating them in Tennessee. So I'm not looking forward to that. You just go out there. It's not a race to 20 with our team. Maybe they're looking at it that way because that's kind of Salah's thing. We're more than capable of having the inverse happen, and we win 24-13 based on how we match up with Tennessee.
The Jake Asman Show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Check out PrizePicks right now. If you're a sports fan, they have something for everyone, especially if you're one of my listeners and you're gearing up for the upcoming Jets season. For player picks on PrizePicks, you just pick a player you like and you go more or less on a few of their stats. Check out some of the numbers they have for some of your favorite Jet players: Geno Smith, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq, and many more. PrizePicks should be your go-to. And check out their new offer right now. Play your first $5 and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you need to do is sign up and use that code HMA. That's PrizePicks code HMA. Download the app now or click the link in the description to download the PrizePicks app today. Dylan, in terms of roster battles, what do you make of the battle at safety that it feels like it's Cisco's job and no one has been able to really take it from him at this point?
Yeah, I don't love to hear that. I was definitely an advocate of drafting a safety fairly highly. Obviously, when we had 2 firsts, 2 seconds, I was definitely an advocate for it. With the 3 first rounders, they had opportunities, but I understand they didn't. Maybe with that 4th one, I still would have picked Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. That was my guy at safety this past draft cycle. It is a little sketchy, right? Because Andre Cisco didn't perform well for us last year. Obviously, you're really hoping that the guy at the top, Minkah Fitzpatrick, really does his job to the degree we think he can be. And any year that Minkah hasn't finished on the Miami Dolphins, he's been an All-Pro or a Pro Bowler. So I don't know if that says more about Minkah or the Dolphins here, but hopefully he continues that trend. Not only do I not like hearing Cisco's job to lose, I don't like hearing that Malachi Moore seemingly doesn't even have a shot at this job. Not because I think he's the best one in the room, but like, he was the draft pick. He was somebody they prioritized 2 draft cycles ago in the 4th round, I believe, maybe early 5th round. And it's like, I thought with all the starting time he had that he might have that first shot to win it. Maybe he had it and lost it, and that's why they have to pivot back to Cisco. But I was always a Dane Belton guy when they signed him. I liked his ability matched with Minkah's, assuming Minkah would be the free safety in this role. But it seems like they want to have Andre Cisco do that and Minkah be more of the roaming guy, which I disagree with based on how they've kind of built this safety room. But we'll have to see. But that is definitely the weakest starter of all the 22, in my opinion.
We need to see someone emerge because I just don't think you're going to have a great secondary if your safety position is Andre Cisco. It just kind of just speaks volumes that no one's really that good in that room. And for those who like Malachi Moore, I don't know if this coaching staff seemingly does. Malachi Moore got a lot of tackles last year just because someone had the tackle because you're an NFL team and no one would stop the run up front. So, here are guys running free into the secondary. I didn't think Malachi Moore was great as a rookie by any means, but it'd be nice to see him step up and play well this preseason and take the job. I don't know if that's happening.
No, I don't know if it's happening, and I'm rooting for it just like you are. And like you said, there were definitely some moments last year, like taking really poor angles where it's like, dang, you're already firing up the live tweet of like, we already got rid of Ashton Davis, but we still have Ashton Davis right here. He just like changed numbers and looks a little bit cooler with his swag on the field with his attire. But yeah, it's tough. I really wanted him to be the guy. I wanted them to make more investments. I was happy with the Minkah pick, but I was definitely hoping for a little bit more at the safety position. Hopefully the other positions kind of mitigate what the safety position, looks like for this team. But I also think it's going to be a lot more of an important position than it was under Saleh. Under Saleh, it was all front four getting home and then, clamping down on islands essentially on the boundary with your cornerbacks. And they didn't care about safety. And I thought it was going to change a little bit with AG. Hasn't really changed. And don't love Cisco, would prefer Belton or Moore. But hopefully we see a lot of all 4 of them.
Wouldn't that be something? Ladies and gentlemen, like the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. All Gilled Up wants to know, what's this about red contacts I'm hearing about? Geno Smith has been wearing red contact lenses at practice to deal with the glare of the sun, and he says it's helped him, and he likes it so far. His eye doctor recommended it, so he's been trying it out, and so far so good, he said when he spoke with reporters yesterday. And if you remember, Santonio Holmes used to do that too with the Jets. Geno said that's where he first saw someone actually do that. So we'll see if he actually does it for regular season games or even the preseason next week.
I actually might look into this for when I'm on the golf course, because I hate wearing my sunglasses when I'm playing golf. But there's obviously, those holes where the sun's just shining right in your face and you can't do anything about it. So I'm all for players doing, within means, things that are going to help them perform better. So it might look a little, freaky to some people. I heard some fans commenting about Geno's red eyes at practice. But hey, if it helps, man, this is cool. And it's cool that he did hear it from Santonio Holmes. I believe when they were both with the Jets, this is when this first came about.
Today, just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.